In today's episode of accepting a whole bunch of random tech crap from my inbox, there's some box smelling action. I learned to write. Whoa, this has quite the learning curve to it. And I become aroused. It being borderline arousing is kind of the problem, right? So I think today we're going to start with the smallest package and then scale it up from there so that we can more comfortably accommodate the bigger ones. And I think that means we're starting with this one. Oh, we've got a little note on it with what looks like very wildly written Japanese on it. I just say it's Japanese because that looks a little bit like hiragana. Wow, the HiDock seems like one hell of a dongle. It even has what looks like a speaker, so that's pretty cool. That seems upside down and it smells like the inside of an NZXT AIO box in here, which is a bit of a weird smell to have on the inside of a dongle box, but anyway, let's open that up. And then again, in what I'm pretty sure is upside down packaging, we have the big ass dongle thing. Look at that. This is quite a solid feeling device. We've got... Is that metal? No, it's definitely plastic. You can see the casting lines and stuff there. It's also got a speaker grill and some matte rubber buttons. There's a little bit of a click to it, you know, it feels decent. And then going by the call button, I'm assuming there's also a microphone in here for like Zoom calls or shouting at strangers on the internet. And then in terms of I/O, we've got a USB 3 and then two USB 2 ports on it. But I guess it makes sense, right? If you're gonna plug a mouse and a keyboard into it, you don't need more than USB 2. And then finally on this side, we've got HDMI and a Type-C port, but no Ethernet, which I think is a bit weird for one of these dongles. But anyway, let's move on to the next bigger thing. Translator earbuds. What? Reading the marketing on the box of the little time kettle got me pretty intrigued. It apparently has 40 online languages, and it has up to 95% accuracy. That is crazy. It only takes between 0.5 and 3 seconds. See, very intrigued. That is very exciting. I think the idea of a thing that just translates in your ear is awesome. I'm skeptical though. It's a very standard looking wireless earbud pebble. It also comes with a little card that has login details for your app on it, and an instruction manual, which, let's check that out. And the manual immediately got me concerned, considering that it was riddled with spelling and grammar mistakes, which is not a good sign for a language translation product. Other than the confidence-inspiring manual, it comes with some silicone tips for the earbuds. It also comes with some stabilizers, I guess you call them, for the earbuds. And then finally, it comes with a USB-C cable for charging, which is very good. Pull out like that. And in here, we have the little babelfish things, which have a shape that makes me feel like they may get sued by Apple at some point. Oh, they actually light up like that so that you can see that they're charging. And then on the back, you have the USB-C cable for charging. Cool. Okay, let's move on to the next thing, which has one of the pulley open things to open. Oh, that's always fun. Oh, it's like a writing peripheral for you to make your erotic Hello Kitty fan fiction with or whatever. That's cool. Ooh. It looks like half a glove. Oh, it's like a palm rejection glove, right? So that the tablet doesn't get confused by your palm? Okay. What if you have 18 feet across hands? Like it barely fits my hand. I guess it makes you feel like you're in the future. Dollar store future, but future nonetheless. Aside from the half glove, you get a square USB to Type-C cable, some extra keycaps, a USB-C to square USB adapter, and then finally we have like a SIM ejector looking thing. We'll figure out what that's for later. And I think this may be the pen. that looks like a thing you can write on. It's even got like mechanically feeling buttons on it. That's not a terrible little volume switch thing. And then on the back, it's just got some little feet and texture so that it sits on the table nicely. Oh, that kind of looks like a pen. Now, the writing utensil is like a click button on the side, and then we've got the tip with its obscene amounts of pressures that it can read. And then it feels quite nice as well. It's got like a rubberized matte finish to it. And even this feels quite nice. I am excited to try this out. I may actually try and play a game with this peripheral. I think playing some GTA 5 with a pen should be awesome. Although, aside from gaming on it, I'm not entirely sure why Veek thought I was the correct person to test one of these, considering that I've never used one before. But at least, I am very good at drawing, so I'm sure we'll be able to figure something out. Yeah, okay, let's move on to the next thing. Oh, we've got some Beats gear. Oh, there's 2 of them! I have no idea what this is. It is Android and Windows compatible, apparently. And then the model color is cardboard colored, so that is exciting. It is actually cardboard colored, it seems. Just going by the box, I was joking about that, but it seems to be accurate. I'm assuming this is what you use to carry your Beats gear around. This branding does make my spidey sense tingle somewhat. We also get a power supply for our Beats by gear in the box. We have an extension for the power supply so that we can move the Beats gear a bit further away. No way, that is a cigarette lighter power supply so that you can do some Beats by gear while driving, which seems dangerous. And then this, I think, is like a sound card, maybe, because we've got a USB-C port on the back and then an aux port on the other side. And then we get an aux cable along with it. And it also tells us to very carefully read the instructions before doing some Beats gear. But before we read that, let's have a quick look at it. I think this is, oh, what? It looks like a pillow. It's like a seat cushion. On the side, we've got some I/O for it. I then checked the second box for clues as to what the Beats gear was for. So this one is black as opposed to the like prosthetic limb color of the other one. And despite spending a while examining it, I couldn't figure out what it was for. I'm gonna have to read the instructions. I am gonna sit on it while I read the instructions because I assume, I mean, it's quite comfortable. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know if this is its intended use case, but it works well as a cushion. And after spending some time in the manual, I eventually figured it out. So like, I'm guessing it'll make your butt vibrate to explosions and stuff, okay? I am actually quite excited to try the Beats by gear. Maybe it's supposed to be by my lower back and not under my butt, but we'll figure it out. So with that, let's get to the actual using of the things. Now I guess we're starting off with the HiDock, which I'm going to be plugging into an Asus laptop that ironically has very good I/O, so it doesn't actually need the HiDock, but just imagine this is like a dongle book or whatever. And then we're just going to plug some normal house stuff into it, like a keyboard, a mouse, and a monitor. I did want to plug Ethernet into it, but it doesn't have an Ethernet port for some reason. Now, as far as I understand, its main gimmick is that it's like a at-home boardroom phone replacement thing, which again, kind of confuses me as to why they thought I should test it, considering that I've never been in a boardroom before, and I'm sure I'd probably spontaneously combust of boredom in one. Now, there is another USB-C port that's PD, so I think you can plug it into the wall, and then it'll charge your laptop and stuff as well. Oh, it's lit up in green. Hey, it has just done the thing. Now what? Am I done testing it? I then decided to check out its Kickstarter campaign, which was filled with pictures of people doing generic business things near it. But then they explain how one of the problems that it solves is FOMO. FOMO from what? Being in a boardroom? Because it's definitely not helping with Ethernet FOMO. Anyway, I then decided to test out the speaker. I have versions of songs I use in videos a lot with vocals, you know, because they keep talking about its vocal quality. And after spending a while listening to various songs on it, I came to the conclusion that it sounded like a dongle speaker. It sounds exactly how you would imagine a thing like this to sound. It's kind of uncanny. I will say, it does go uncomfortably loud. So this is me talking. It is now arm's length from me. Maybe this is the distance people stand from a conference phone. I have no idea. And then when I walk across from the room, now I'm about 3 meters away from it. And I'm gonna speak at like a normal speaking voice for me, which is still quite loud, but yes. I then decided to be very professional and test the USB 3 throughput on it using Crystal Disk Mark and an external M.2 drive. With the drive plugged straight into the USB-C port on the laptop, I got this result. But then when I put the hub in the chain, we lost some serious throughput. Wow, that has really dumpstered the performance. So I just redid the test, swapping out the USB cable plugging in the external drive, and we're getting the same result, so the performance brutalization is the hub's fault. But it's not that bad, you know, it's just a 10-factor reduction in performance of throughput that's already much slower than what the drive's capable of. Next, we're gonna try the Veek, which, again, I am very much not the correct person to test one of these, but I guess we'll just plug it in and see what happens. Okay, a couple of lights flashed up there. I feel like it's confused, because when I go from left to right, it goes up and down. And when I go up and down, it goes from left and right. I then spent a while trying to figure out how to invert the inputs. Because of the logo on the base, it made me feel like this had to be the correct orientation to use it. But eventually I just gave up and turned the thing around. Whoa, this has quite the learning curve to it. It feels kind of like I'm doing physical therapy. I think the reason it feels so unnatural is because my writing input is down here, and then the output is physically separate over here. It's got quite a nice papery texture to it, so it feels like you're writing. I then downloaded the Veek drivers and some drawing software that Google told me was good so that I could flex my drawing skills. Okay, so now that I've drawn a beautiful flower, let's try and game with it. I have never seen that happen before. Let's see if we Let's try changing mouse input method to Windows. No, that has not helped. That has not helped at all. Maybe direct input? That is actually kind of working. And after fine-tuning some sensitivity and smoothing settings, we were in business. Oh, I can actually drive with it. If I like press down, I can use it to steer. Look at that. That is amazing. It is working better than I was expecting. If I'm going straight is very hard though. Once you've started turning, you know, you want it to like make a big turn, it is very hard to straighten out. Oh, the motorbike is not, because you have to lift it quite far off. No, down. Oh, this is exceedingly treacherous. Oh no. Okay, let's try an FPS and see if we can actually pawn some noobs with it. If we can get a kill with the Veek, then it'll get a positive review, I guess, is how that works. How do I look? How do I look behind me? Okay, so I guess I'm going down this road. I don't really have much of a choice. So I use the button on the pen to aim down my sights, and then I push it down to shoot. Okay. Anyway, what I was saying is it kind of lulls you into a false sense of security because it feels quite accurate. But when you're actually having to like aim and shoot, it feels really clumsy. I can't look up there. Oh, okay, this is not a very good gaming peripheral. You only have this plane of movement. So where you can look is very dependent on the direction you're facing when you spawn. So I need to wait for this guy to be facing the most useful direction possible before I spawn on him. and then hope that for the rest of my life, this is the correct orientation. But after some trial and error, it actually happened. Oh, I got a kill! That is huge. I mean, I think this is gonna become my new FPS peripheral from now on. Some amazing stuff, Veek! Now, when it comes to the Time Kettle Translation earbuds, I had no idea how to test them properly, and I couldn't just do like a fake gaming test with them either. So I decided to start with some basic phrases in a language I once heard. So basically the mode that it's in now is that it translates what we're saying into Japanese. And just to clarify, there's a voice in the earbud reading the translation. Anna's also got one in, she's off camera. My name is Dawid. Watashi no namae wa David desu. Like David desu. Let's try my favorite Japanese saying. Do you get naked for this? That's not the exact way I know that phrase, but there is some HiDock in there, so I guess it works. I then decided to switch things up and have it translate my very broken Japanese into English. Boku no namae wa Dawid desu. My name is Dave. Okay. Hadaka ni narimasu ka? Get naked? Question mark.
I'd be like.
Anna then very smartly suggested that we listen to a Korean drama on YouTube and have it translate that, which went very well. Oh no, it's not working. It's not working at all. I'm not a mother who caught penetration unconditionally. In all fairness, I don't know how reasonable translating movie dialogue playing back over a speaker is, and Google Translate also struggled with it, even if it was in a much less hilarious way. No, it's also not, like, the Nabu article must have ordered natural paint. So are they good? Well, I'm not really sure. Although their Amazon reviews aren't particularly positive, neither are the reviews of the app, and the fact that you can't use them as like normal earbuds for listening to movies and watching music with is shocking for a $320 product. And from my perspective, I'm not particularly sure how much more it offers than Google Translate, which is free. But what do I know? Next, we're trying out the Beats gear, which I spent quite some time reading the manual, and I'm still not entirely sure if you're supposed to sit on it or use it as like a lower back support, so we're gonna try both. Now we're gonna start off by sitting on it, which, on the IKEA chair that I'm using with it, it means that you sit very high and it kind of ruins the ergonomics of the chair a bit. Now for Windows, you don't need any additional wires other than the power cable because it can connect via Bluetooth, but you do need to download some software for it. And after installing the slightly fiddly drivers, the Beats gear made quite the introduction. Ah! Holy shit, that scared me. It just out of nowhere. I mean, that's quite the vibration. Beat power 100. Oh, I need to turn the beat. Oh, yes, when you touch the slider, it does things to you. And those things continued to happen while gaming. I need to turn it down. And once I found the appropriate beat power, I had to dial in the latency so that the vibrations happened at the same time as in-game sounds. Okay, there's definitely a latency issue. So luckily, they do account for that in the drivers. But while struggling to dial in the beat latency, another problem reared its head. Sometimes you bump a thing and it vibrates, and then sometimes you bump a thing and it doesn't vibrate. It seems quite inconsistent with its vibrations. Yeah, like there. Sometimes you hit a bump in the road and it vibrates, and then you like just wreck a curb and it doesn't. I was also starting to realize that maybe it wasn't meant to be sat on. It is borderline arousing. And I think that it being borderline arousing is kind of a problem, right? Because I'm trying to game, not get off, right? So it doing what it's doing. Okay, maybe I'm not supposed to sit on it. Maybe that's the problem. Because it sends vibrations all through your undercarriage, which I'm sure none of you tuned into this video expecting me to talk about my undercarriage, but there is lots of undercarriage action happening, so I'm gonna have to move it over. It doesn't make sense when it's on your lower back either, because it's not contoured. So now it just feels like I've got a pillow wedged behind me, and not one of those ergonomic lower back pillows, just a slab of thing. So with it here, with it against your lower back, it's less arousing. So it actually makes more sense. I mean, I guess it depends on what you want from the thing. But aside from being less arousing from behind, the vibrations still felt too random. It doesn't feel immersive. It just feels like there's a kid sitting behind you kicking the chair randomly. I then decided to try listening to some music with the Beats by Gear in beat mode. But if anything, music with a very consistent tempo brought the lack of coherency into clearer focus. Even with the latency synced and the Beats by Gear set to beat mode, it wasn't consistently keeping the tempo, which just made it feel like random vibration. I spent a good couple of hours playing around with the drivers, but couldn't get it to feel like anything more than just somebody practicing their drop kicks against the back of my chair. Which I think brings me to the end of a pretty pointless video. Although if you enjoyed it, subscribe to the channel and maybe watch another video. A suggestion will pop up in a second. And until the next video, bye bye.